Ever since you were born, someone/something has ruled over you. Your parents and even their parents. Government. The Bible says, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities." But what is government and why was it invented? The Merriam-Google dictionary defines government as the governing body of a state, nation, or community. So basically, a group of people controlling a larger population, like corporate and businesses, state officials in your state, and so on and so forth. Before government was on Earth, humans just hunted and gathered communally, supplying one's own family needs. There was not a place for a leader, just a man who hunted and a woman who gathered. Then, the government was originally made because there were too many people to support in the society. So a leader has to be put in place, perhaps a chieftain. Once the chieftain was the leader of the group, then the chiefdom government type was made, allowing to construct ritual events and divide a smaller population into separate jobs, mostly farmers. Once the number of people under the government grew, as did the government itself, transforming itself into a kingdom with a king who wasn't just a normal leader like a chieftain. They were treated with luxury and could almost get away with anything. Thousands of years went by and kings ruled constantly and fell constantly, and the world was at a standstill. Kings rose and fell all over the world, different kinds of kings ranging from warlords, noble kings, and kings with no power. The main flaw of the kingdom is that people became greedy with power and started becoming corrupt with it. For example, taxes were big in the kingdom, especially on peasants, keeping them poor. Were the kings satisfied with just a few small cities and a medium-sized army? No, they wanted more. An empire. The first empire was the Akkadian Empire in modern-day Sumeria. An empire is basically a very big kingdom with a lot of land and power, commonly having multiple self-controlled states, since all the power and land can't be controlled under one central government. When I say empire, you either think of the Chinese empires, Macedon, or the Greek Empire, and the Great Roman Empire. Many people once wanted to be an empire, but now it is looked down upon in the modern day since having power is now considered greedy. But okay. The main flaw of the empire government type is that people become greedy with power, and it starts becoming corrupt with it. And taxes were official in empires to support such a huge regime. Empires ruled the world and ended in 1997, when the British Empire became the United Kingdom. While empires were what people wanted to become, a new leader was born in Athens. The year was 507 BC, and the people wanted control over the government, to have a say. But Montesquieu wrote, "If a republic be small, it is destroyed by a foreign force. If it be large, it is ruined by an internal imperfection." So basically, it was impossible for democracies to exist in the chaotic world, and we'll come back to this government type. Haha, I've come to you when you least expected it in the middle of the video. Now go slap the like button and subscribe. After the empires ended in Europe, and the medieval kingdoms became a thing, these were usually separated into three classes: the peasants, the rich, and the royals. The peasants were poor, and farmers not even being able to make a living, making up most of the population. The rich were tax collectors and were usually associated with the royals. And the royals were the jacks and jesters, kings and queens, princes and princesses. This was the normal government, slowly but surely turning into democracy. But still, with a bigger power like a dictator or a king, things slowly changed. Parliament started being put into the government, but one person with most of the power was still in the government. Then, as the Prince of Austria-Hungary got killed, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and each one of them called on their big brothers. Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, the Central Powers, fought against Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan, and the United States, the Allied Powers. When World War I ended, most of the modern monarchies were ended by the Allies. The German Kaiser/King rule got ended, as did the Austrian-Hungarian Empire split up. After the end of the rule of monarchies in Europe, there were three main ideologies: democracy, fascism, and communism. With the German economic crisis after the German loss in World War I, the German people were saddened, looking for hope. Then, the mustache man manipulated them and united the German people using military and cultural might. Then, with Italy divided culturally, looking for purpose and unity, the ex-Italian soldier Mussolini united Italy, and fascism rose in Italy, having much pride within its country. Meanwhile, Russia, much like Germany, was in economic downturn, and the people had little faith in the government and looking for a better answer to their monarchy. Then Lenin, Trotsky, and Stalin had a revolution, a communist revolution. Then, as totalitarianism rose, so did world tension, as millions died under all of their iron fists. Then, the tension broke when Germany invaded Poland, and then the rest is history. After the fascists were taken down, democracy was instilled, but communism was still alive and spreading. Now, I already talked about communism quite a bit in my 2 Communist China videos, so go check those out, please. The West led the force against communism, and lots of wars were fought to stop its spread. Then, Gorbachev, the leader of the USSR, allowed Pizza Hut into Russia, and that's when the USSR ended. And now, there's only China, Cuba, Laos, and Vietnam being the remaining communist countries. Venezuela and North Korea are technically socialist states. Now that we are in the age of democracy and we are seeing that other powers are rising, coming back from the dead, we see fascism rising in Germany, Italy, Japan, Brazil, Austria, and the closest Russia. Although these countries aren't fully fledged fascists, they are moving closer to it with strong nationalism and military growth. Also, socialism and communism are rising throughout the world, leading in America, rising in other Western countries, even though socialism and communism has been proven not to work. People are still seeking it, but why? Well, that's a mystery for the next video, so make sure you subscribe so you can see my next video. Anyways, God bless you all, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Bye. Why are you still here? You have better things to do. But subscribe.